Formula One is often hailed as the pinnacle of motorsport, with a history so rich you could spend months discussing it. But that's not what we're doing today. We're talking about money, because it's money that shows why Formula One is the biggest and probably most important championship in racing. People kind of know this, even if they don't actually watch Formula One. And there are plenty of legitimate reasons not to. Maybe open-wheel racing just isn't your thing. But what people don't often understand is how Formula One stacks up financially against other big racing series like NASCAR. And the stats? Well, they're quite revealing. Liberty Media, Formula One's commercial rights holder, reported revenues north of $3.2 billion for 2023, with operating income in the hundreds of millions. NASCAR, which is wildly profitable and cost-effective in the U.S., brings in around $660 million a year. Just for reference, IndyCar generates around $150 million annually. The difference is staggering, and it's mostly because F1 is truly global, with races across 5 continents and a massive worldwide fan base. NASCAR, on the other hand, is largely confined to the U.S., just like IndyCar, which sits on top of the numerous series that keep folding every decade. While Formula One has an unbroken history since 1950, even if the commercial rights holders change every now and then. Naturally, Formula One is known for the staggering amounts of cash thrown around. In the past, the top F1 teams had annual budgets that could easily soar past $400 to $500 million. Obviously, that's not just for the cars, but also for the army of engineers, mechanics, and other personnel who keep the operation running. For decades, people tossed around the idea of cost-cutting, and finally, in 2021, the budget cap arrived. The idea is simple. Every team has a maximum amount they can spend in a season. For 2023, that cap was set at around $135 million. In theory, this cap keeps costs under control while trying to level the playing field, without turning F1 into a spec series where everyone uses the same car. The previous system was gradually evolving in the direction of a complete money pit, where the richest teams kept winning and the smaller teams barely stood a chance. But don't think that $135 million is the final number. The cap doesn't cover everything. Driver salaries excluded, executive pay excluded, marketing budgets also exempt. Essentially, the cap applies to the core costs of designing, building, and running the car. And teams are constantly trying to push the boundaries of what's allowed under the cap, finding loopholes and creative accounting methods. So, it is wrong to think that a top team like Ferrari or Red Bull operates with a $135 million budget. In reality, it easily exceeds $200 million. Come on, people like Lewis Hamilton have a base salary of around $45 million a year. And this is only a base salary. In reality, they are making more and they are creative with the taxes, which means that they usually live either in Switzerland or in Monaco. How does this compare to NASCAR or IndyCar? Well, budgets can vary widely, but a top NASCAR team might spend between $15 to $25 million a year. And an IndyCar team might have an annual budget of around $10 to $20 million, which is actually comparable to the budgets they have in Formula 2, which is a feeder series for young aspiring drivers. So Formula One is a high-speed, high-stakes, high-cost spectacle. And speed actually is not the main point. The only way to fully enjoy an F1 race is when you have some understanding of strategy, politics, and the whole drama, the whole soap opera, with drivers, team principals, constructors, etc. Liberty Media knows this all too well, which is why they turned F1 into a reality show of sorts with Drive to Survive, Netflix's smash hit that's expanding F1's fan base. Sure, Drive to Survive is exaggerated and often fictionalized, but that's a different story.